This is the 2018 Honda Civic Type R. It's easily one of the most anticipated launches for the brand in the past decade. Riding on a new platform, the new Type R promises to be pure driving fun. Is it? Let's have a look. Let's start with the interior. So if you've sat in a current generation Civic, then this should be all too familiar. The layout is almost identical. So what I'm going to do is focus on all the little bits you get extra with the Type R. If you want to see a more in-depth view of the infotainment system or the general layout, then have a look at my Honda Civic review, placed in the description. But before that, let's start her up. So foot on the clutch and on the brake, and hit the engine start-stop button to go. The first thing you should notice is just how much red there is in the cabin. There's red elements going all through on the dash. The Type R also gets red leather on the inserts and a flat bottom steering wheel. These faux carbon fiber inserts. And of course, these lovely red bucket seats. They're trimmed in suede. And you also get the Type R exclusive red seat belts. The door panels are aligned with the suede material as well, same with the faux carbon fiber trim. And the door panel, of course, 4 power window switches, window locks, power door locks with power mirrors. The Type R has the full suite of Honda sensing, so lane keep assist, parking sensors, and collision mitigation braking, and also traction control off for a bit of fun. The mats aligned, same red stitching and Type R branding, and the lovely red Honda logo on the steering wheel. In the center, you find your 6-speed manual transmission. It's a stubby little gear knob with short shifts. And like every other Civic, it's placed quite high relative to the driver, so using it is an absolute joy. Brake hold with electronic parking brake, Type R branding, and this you won't find in any other Civic are the drive mode selectors. So there's 3 modes to choose from: Comfort, Sport, which is actually enabled by default, and Race Plus. So what they'll do is alter the throttle response, steering wheel weight, and also the adaptive dampers depending on the setting. You can also see those selections come through on the driver's information display. One thing I do want to mention is just how comfortable these bucket seats are. They're very firm, as they should be, but also incredibly comfortable. The bolsters don't go too high, so it's still okay to get in and out of, and it also dips down near the hip area. So we'll shut her off, and let's have a look at the back seats. The suede trim does stop from the front seat, so now it's just a plain cloth and hard scratchy plastic. Tweeter, no rear air vents unfortunately. Integrated headrests. Happily, the back seats still get these signature red seat belts. In terms of room, I'm 6'3" or 190 centimeters, and my head is just brushing the headliner. Sitting behind myself, that would be a little bit of a problem due to the seats. On the back of the seats there's this carbon fiber-esque plastic material. It looks like it could scratch quite easily, so we'll just have to let time tell. But overall, in terms of space, it's not too bad. I have to say it's a lot more comfortable in the rear seats than it looks. I wouldn't be sitting behind myself, but behind a shorter driver, it shouldn't be too much of a drama. You join me under the exhaust, which has been one of the biggest talking points of the new Type R, so try get it right. So if you look over there, the exhaust gases go through a catalytic converter first, and then enters into a central resonator. Then it comes through here where it splits into 2 mufflers, and also a center Helmholtz chamber, which will get rid of any unwanted frequencies. Then from those 2 mufflers, it comes down here and it splits into 3 exhaust pipes. And hopefully that was a quick explanation of the Type R's fancy exhaust. This being a hatchback, you'd expect it to be practical, and thankfully the Type R is. With the boot open and the rear seats up, there's 414 liters of space. There are 4 cargo tie-down hooks. There's also a bag for scale. I'll take it out to show you underneath. Unfortunately, there is no spare tire, only a tire sealant kit. And probably my favorite feature is this little cargo cover. It comes out from the side instead of having a large kind of fixed unit that comes out from the back seats. So it remains compact and it still does its purpose. Once again, being a hatchback, you can easily fold the rear seats. And they lie almost completely flat, but there is a small step up here. And on to the most important part, the driving experience. A major concern when the Type R was first announced was that it was going to be front-wheel drive, and sending 306 horsepower to just the front two wheels was going to make for a very nervous time. So what Honda engineers did was install a helical limited slip diff, which more accurately distributes torque to each wheel. And a new steering knuckle design allowed the steering axis to be moved closer to the vertical center line of those wheels. And in conjunction with the wider wheels, eliminated the asymmetrical design found in most cars. And that's great, but what does that all mean? We did some acceleration tests that unfortunately we didn't get on camera, but what it meant was that there was no torque steer at all. A true testament to the engineers is that you forget it's even front-wheel drive. Steering weight can be adjusted, but I found that the standard setting hit the right spot. Although the turning circle of the Type R was nothing to write home about, at 11.8 meters. This makes any turn a three-pointer, and around town you feel it just isn't very nimble for a small car. With 400 Nm of torque on offer, starting at just 2500 RPM, accelerating in a higher gear didn't feel like it was lugging the engine. The gear stick feels exactly how you'd want it to, with short and sharp throws. The clutch was also easy to modulate, although I did stall it once. Promise it was only once. In a nutshell, I simply didn't want to give the car back. A new Type R was what enthusiasts were screaming at Honda to make, and judging by the permanent smile I had on my face as I was driving it, it looks like they did a good job. So that's a 2018 Civic Type R. As always, if you've enjoyed the video, give us a thumbs up, hit the subscribe button, and I'll see you in the next one.